All right, so my name's David Farrell. I work at ZipRecruiter.com, or ZipRecruiter. We're currently hiring. But today I want to talk about relaunching Pearl.com, past, present, and future. So just a brief history of Pearl.com. Tom Christiansen registered the domain in the early 90s. And if you'd visited the page around 1996, you'd have found something that looks like this. Sorry, it's a picture. You'll have to squint. At the very top of the page, it says, urgent security announcement in big red letters, which is good because if it's urgent, you want it at the top. And then there's a nice welcome to mocks.pearl.com, a Unix quote, and then somewhat down the page under the subtitle Perl, there's a link to visit the Perl language homepage. And beneath that, there's a Magic the Gathering entry. And Tom tells me that at this point, this website was the only online database of Magic the Gathering cards, and the owner had no web presence. So he would sponsor Tom by sending him boxes and boxes of Magic cards to keep this thing up to date. So that's where the tie-in with Mox and Pearl.com comes in. Now, if you click that Perl language link, you'd have seen a page that looks much more familiar, I think. There's some iconography we all recognize. And under important news, it says, register before July 18th for a discount for the first ever Perl conference, which sounds pretty great. Immediately beneath that, it says version 5004 of Perl is now released, and there's a link to download it there. Okay, fast forwarding to 2002, we now see Pearl.com is O'ReillyPearl.com, the source for Perl. And it looks like a much more professional media website. There are clearly articles being published and things about like spam filtering and Oracle and stuff like that. By 2011, the site had a redesign. It looked more like a traditional blog site. And by 2014, it went through another minor redesign and looked like this. Now, at this point, there are over 700 articles published on Pearl.com, and the author list reads like a who's who of famous Perl people. You know, Larry, Damien, Alison Randall. Brian Warnock published an article on Pearl.com. He's famous for the term Warnocked. So, yeah, there's a lot of good stuff on there. The original transcripts of Larry's State of the Onion talks, the original Perl 6 design documents. Perl 6 Weekly was a newsletter published on Pearl.com. So a lot of history. But by this point, February 2014, Chromatic left as the site editor, and no one replaced him. So the website grew stale, and that made me very sad. So in the present time, which is June last year, obviously, date time math is hard, at the last Perl conference, I approached Jim Brandt and I said, hey, Pearl.com's really stale. Here's a really easy way we can keep it up to date. Let's just publish the Perlybot feed of Perl community articles, and we won't need a site editor or anyone to write anything new. And Jim said, that's an interesting idea. Let me think about that. So we kept in touch, and over the ensuing few weeks, we realized that that was actually a pretty bad idea. And what we really wanted to do was convert Pearl.com source to be Markdown based. So at this point, Pearl.com's assets were all HTML and images and media files. There was no movable type code creating the site. We also wanted to merge it with Perltricks.com. We needed a new editor and writer of articles. We needed to improve the contributing docs to get new authors. And we needed to contact Pearlcalm companies for sponsored posts. And Jim is such a great leader that he not only got me to agree to do this, but he convinced me that it was my idea. So what did I get handed? I got a tarball of the web server assets, basically, HTML files, images, that kind of thing, in a huge directory. I looked for an article index, and there was a CSV file, but it only covered articles published until the mid-2000s, so many articles weren't covered. The newer articles, they had embedded XML, which defined the metadata of the article, the author, the date of publication, and the title of the article. Perl.com had this feature where if you went to a year and then /month, it would list all the articles published in that month. But if you went to /day after that path, it would list the articles published on that day. So there were duplicate files throughout the directories where we had, an article published on a certain day was also in the directory published on a certain month, and they didn't always have the same chars, so deduplication wasn't easy. So that sounds like quite a massive text to be working with, and it sounds like quite a hard job, but actually, if you speak Chainsaw, it's not that hard a job. Basically, I just created a new article index discovering content in the tarball, and then I wrote some code to take an index entry and extract the article content and calculate the metadata and print it to a new file. And that was it. So that left us with 712 Perl.com articles converted to Markdown, 266 Perltricks articles ported, and that covered the period 2013 to 2017. So conveniently, we now have a continuous history of articles going back to 1996. All the new articles were categorized and given tags. Most of them have tags. We added a search box powered by DuckDuckGo and a new design. I took the colors of Perl.com and the layout of Perltricks.com. It's a bootstrap-based design. I think it looks a lot better than it did. It's not great. The mobile handling is rather rudimentary, but it works. We've also got social media integration. So if you post a link to Perl.com on Facebook or on Twitter, you'll see a nicely formatted card where it shows the article image, the title, the author, and the article description. Probably the biggest change, though, is that the whole thing is hosted on GitHub in a public repo, which is under tpf/perl.com. So now everyone is free to submit pull requests, fix typos in articles, and so on. So we relaunched the site in mid-December, and it wouldn't have been possible without Ask and Robert's help. They're the Perl.org system administrators, and they provided hosting and GitHub integration. Brian Foy also helped out. He's been working effectively as a co-editor, editing new articles, fixing bugs, suggesting new improvements, and finding people to write for the site as well. So thank you to all of those guys. We managed to publish 35 new articles, and I'm really happy that of those articles, 9 were written by first-time authors on Perl.com. So thanks to these people, we were able to publish more articles than we would have otherwise. We also got repo contributions, people that opened Perl requests, merge requests, and pull requests, and we merged them into master. So thanks to these people for submitting fixes to Perl.com. So with all that activity, you might be curious as to how we've done in terms of page views on the site. So this chart shows the 6-month period immediately before relaunching the site and the 6 months after. The orange line is the period before we relaunched. And basically what this shows is that all of our analytics metrics have improved. Page views are up about 47%. So in 6 months, we had 271,000 page views. Users are up 17%, or 140,000 different users came to the site since we relaunched. And our bounce rate is down about 5%. So people are slightly more likely to stay on the site once they get there. So I thought those were good numbers, but not great numbers, and I was curious to see why that was the case. So for the last 6 months, our most popular articles have been these. And what you'll notice about these is that of the top 5 articles, only 1 was written this year. Looking at our source traffic, we can see that 64% of our traffic source is organic search. So those are people entering terms into Google. They have something they want to discover about Perl. Pearl.com comes up and they click the link. About 18% of our traffic is direct. I think that's coming from places like Perl Weekly and RSS readers. And 14% of our traffic is referral traffic from Pearltricks.com, which has a redirect to Pearl.com now. So if we compare one of those popular legacy articles with that popular new article, we see completely different behavior in terms of page views. The legacy article averages about 800 page views a week. The modern article, the week it was published, got almost 3,000 page views, and that quickly declined to about 1,800, 500, and then about 100 a day, 100 a week thereafter. So the top chart is organic search traffic, and the bottom chart represents the Perl community, like us. The modern article is interesting to us at the time it's published because it's community news. It was rather controversial. But as time moves on, it's increasingly less interesting to us. And if you've read it once, you probably don't go back and read it again. So in the future, what can we do about that? Well, my objective is to get more page views for Perl.com. I think page views are a proxy for the popularity of Perl. And I think more people coming to the site means more people reading about Perl, thinking about Perl, talking about Perl, and hopefully linking to Perl.com on social media, that kind of thing. I also think the new version of Perl.com does a better job of supporting the community. For the past 2 months, we've run a banner ad for this conference, and that's shown on almost every page on the website. So if you think we had 140,000 users in 6 months, and that banner ad ran for about 2 months, it's not unreasonable to think that around about 45,000 people saw that ad. We also have links to the Perl Foundation Twitter account, the Perl subreddit, and other community articles like things posted on blogs.perl.org. So what I'm trying to say is more popular Perl.com is better for all of us and all of our assets connected to Perl.com as well. So how do we get more page views? Well, we need to publish more popular articles, we need to publish more frequently, and we need to keep visitors for longer. So, more popular articles. Well, we need more beginner topics. It's telling that of the top 10 most popular articles, 3 of them have the word beginning in the title. And I think one way we can do that is we can mine AdWords to find out what are popular search topics that we're not currently supporting on the site. And potentially we could create bounties for articles to be written. Publishing more frequently. I need to do a better job of asking for help and reaching out more, and this talk is part of that. We need better contributing docs. I have an open issue that I'm working on, and about a third of the way through. I think we could do a better job of recognizing and rewarding people that do contribute to the site. Brian suggested adding a list of authors and contributors to the About page, for instance, which seems like an easy win. We could also send authors a thank you note and maybe a Perl.com sticker, which is pretty low cost. Or potentially we could pay authors for writing articles for Perl.com. That gets a little bit more complicated with employment law and things like that. I'm not sure if that's possible, but potentially it's something we could look at. So coming back to the idea of article bounties, one thing that Jim and I talked about was having corporate sponsorship. And what I did was reach out to about 20 different companies saying, if you write an article for Perl.com, we will include an ad for your company on the site. You can say something like, and we're hiring. And every company said, that's a great idea, we'd love to help. But only one company actually sent an article. Thank you, Everson. And I don't blame the companies for that. I think it was probably a bad proposal. If you think about it, if you're working at a company, you've got to then find someone who wants to write an article, has the time to write an article, knows what they want to write about, right? And then you've got to have to review what they wrote before you send it back to us for publication. If you're a busy company, like writing an article for Pearl.com is not on your list of priorities. No one is getting reviewed on how well they did writing articles for us. So I think maybe a better model is to come up with article bounties where companies can say, pay us several $1,000s for an article series on whatever beginner topic we've identified. And it's easy for them because they give us the money and they tell us what ad they want to run. And we can take that money and donate it to the TPF or potentially pay authors or something else. So I think that's a better model, but we'll see. In terms of keeping visitors for longer, an obvious thing we can do is add a "you may also like" widget to the bottom of every article. The other thing that's been mentioned is adding an archive page to Pearl.com. This would be like an index by year and month of every article. Now, personally, I don't browse websites that way, so I didn't think that was a particularly useful thing to do. But more than one person has suggested it to me, and I think it's a really easy thing to do. So even if it only helps a little bit, like there's no real cost to doing it, so we should do that too. Okay, so that's pretty much everything I wanted to say about Pearl.com. Those are some of our plans for the future of what we're going to work on. If you have some suggestions, I'd love to hear them. If you'd like to write an article for Pearl.com, even better. My email address is on the website. I'm also on CPAN. Or just come talk to me at the conference. Thank you. Yeah.
I was having a bit of a brain spasm as far as thinking about something, but I know that various hosting companies like Linode pay for articles on how to do things with the servers, because people are always looking for how to get beginners going. And I know that I've talked to Sawyer about Dancer too, and I you know, it might be useful to start creating some best practices with Perl and LampStack. You know, to sort of say here's how you build and you know, post a REST API using Dancer 2, or just something that would put it together in the context of the tools that are available from a particular hosting company. I didn't know whether that was something that might be of interest, but I might actually try to do something like that for you.
Yeah, thanks. I think it can be hard to come up with article topics after a while. Like, it feels like almost everything has been said about Perl that's possible to say, but it's not true. Like, if you scratch the surface, there's, you know, there's, for instance, what's new on CPAN, right? There are 30 new good quality modules uploaded to CPAN every month. That's one source. Another one is looking at things like that, where just an angle that we haven't considered before.
What I think people need are use cases for Perl, so people realize it's not dead, it's being used, it has potential for all these solutions, and kind of get the excitement back. You know, I think that people are still living with the impression that you know, Perl had these problems, and now we're being ignored a bit, except for the folks who really know. And I'm just thinking that if we could just show some modern use cases and where Perl fits the bill.
Yeah, yeah, sounds good to me. Yep.
A lot of people gave talks here at this conference, and every one of them badgered them into writing an article about what they talked about.
You did?
I did, and you can badger me, or I'll consider myself badgered.
All right, thank you. Thanks. Yeah.
For what it's worth, the German Pro Workshop puts out an entire like magazine-esque kind of thing with all the slides printed, and it requires authors to write, speakers to write an article on their topic. Most people do, and each one is like several pages.
So that could be a source.
It's for Perl.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Mostly in German.
All right, well.
Well, but it seems like people are able to do it when they need to.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Yep.
Would an article ever get rejected? Like, if you submitted an article that, say, someone else had submitted 2 years ago, like, would I need to search the archives before submitting something?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. rejection's such a hard word. I think we can nearly always finesse an article. Actually, Liz's article, which was the most popular one published this year.
For some definition of popular.
Yeah.
Most viewed.
That was probably the most contentious editorial cycle we went through, where I took what Liz had written and I thought, oh my God, you've got to soften this a little bit. And we went back and forth, but I think we were both good at respecting what we were trying to accomplish, and it was important to me to not remove Liz's message and what she was trying to say, and I probably went a little bit far, and then she came back, and we ended up with a really great article.
Sometimes I'm very angry and then
So
An idea.
yeah.
Maybe probably people think, oh, I couldn't write an article, and the article is huge. Magazines have their feature articles, but they also have their little mini front of the page things.
Hmm.
We started a small little articles things that people could do, like my favorite module, or
Yeah.
here's how a certain function works. And there were little departments that people could contribute little bitty articles to.
Do you know that Pearl.com used to publish lightning articles?
Yeah, exactly.
So maybe we need to go back to that. Yeah.
10 signs
Then
he
it'd be
might
more
be
fresh
coding Java
content.
on you.
10 what?
10 signs he might be coding Java.
What's funny is that beginners are what's looking here, they might like little articles like this is how this function works. Do you know what I mean? Some
Yeah.
people like what.
Advanced script archiving.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good idea. And the other thing that's good about that is we could have regularly repeating series of articles, and that makes it so much easier because you know what you need to write. You just need to find the particular content that matches the article topic. Oh yeah, hey.
Just another suggestion I had, a question was asked earlier, what if I submit an article and the same article was published 2 years ago? Well, sometimes technology changes and the article needs updated, giving opportunity for that new submitter to kind of take on that old article and make it relevant for whatever the new trend is.
Yeah, I mean, look at those most popular articles, like MJD's article from 1999 on DBI. Like, DBI is great. I still use it, but I'm sure there are more things we can say about DBI now than we could, 19 years ago. Yeah.
I'd even go so far as to suggest that duplicate content's not really a problem these days because it's going to get indexed and you're actually going to get more traffic if you have two similar topics.
Yep.
There is no comment function, is that right? And are you adding comment function?
Okay, so yeah, it's worth saying this. So that's right. There are no comments on Pearl.com, and I don't believe there were before. Maybe there has been at some point, but I think comments are. If you manage a site, comments are a risk. Comments need to be managed, and that's more work. So what we try to do is post every article to Reddit, and people post there. And we have a pretty good community on Reddit of about 8 or 9 mods who are online a lot of the time. So we tend to point people to Reddit. We think that's a good platform for discussing it. But it's not because we hate commentary about Pearl.com. It's just we already have a place for comments, and managing it on the own site is just more work, and we've got more priorities. Okay, yeah.
You actually got 2 of the 20 to respond, not 1. Felipe Gasper is from cPanel.
Yeah, but he didn't do it he did it on his own dime, right?
Not to my knowledge.
Yeah, I when he submitted that article, I said, "Oh, did so and so reach out to you?" And he's like, "No, I just wanted to do
He's
it."
a contractor because he lives outside the country.
Oh, okay.
But that's a good distinction to make. Of those companies, it's not like we haven't had submissions from people working at those companies. We have. Yeah, that's fair. So thank you, cPanel. All right, thank you.